Captivated. The definition of captivate is to hold, to attract and hold the interest and attention of. But what truly captivates you today? Maybe it's an NFL football game. Maybe it's a good movie. Maybe it's good conversation with a really close friend. But not much in everyday life truly captivates. We live in a scroll society where we are constantly scrolling to the next. Maybe every now and again we stop at something that's cute, semi-interesting. We stay on it for a few moments, and then it's on to the next. A scroll right society. On to the next. Constantly. Very few things actually attract and hold your interest and your attention. Last night, Monday Night Raw, the last 7 minutes of Monday Night Raw completely captivated BC. The Rock completely annihilating Cody Rhodes. You know, there's an old saying, if you can't beat 'em, you might as well join 'em. Seth Rollins last night, and his segment with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk going well over its allotted time. To the point where the next match, Ivy Nile and Candice LeRae both got jobber entrances, and their match was only 2 minutes long. So, beginning, end, and middle cut for the following match after Rollins' segment with Punk and McIntyre. But that promo needed to happen. It was a badass promo where they were able to just go out there and shoot from the hip. Way more captivating, unfortunately, and no disrespect to LeRae and Ivy, but 4, 5, 6 more minutes of Ivy and Candice was not going to captivate you more than CM Punk, Drew, and Seth going at it on the microphone. So that was allotted more time, or more time was taken to it. Seth Rollins' segment did that. Cody Rhodes last night was wearing the Crimson Mask. He was waiting for that. This was better than his birthday, I'm sure. Cody loves to wear the Crimson Mask, and he finally got to, in this PG era, working with The Rock, he was able to sport that Crimson Mask. So the reports that talent is unhappy with The Rock and he gets to get away with certain things, now they're starting to see maybe certain things need to change. Maybe things that deserve and should have more time added to them because they truly captivate, because they are that good, should get that allotted time. Maybe there is time to wear that Crimson Mask, to sport that blood in times where it is needed. Last night, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, they got to benefit from such PG restrictions. Maybe it's not The Rock that was bringing everybody down. Maybe The Rock was elevating everybody else to up their standards, to up their game, including Paul Levesque McMahon. Because last night's show, with The Rock heavily involved, was the first Monday Night Raw I can remember that was actually good. For that final segment, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Brian Gewirtz, they escorted Triple H to a closet. They opened that son bitch. They put Triple H in that closet. They said, sit tight, know your role, shut your mouth, sit tight. We'll come back after the show. And they locked Triple H in that closet. And The Rock and Brian Gewirtz went to town in that last segment. Went to town in that last segment. And before you start getting scared, oh no, but this is what's going to happen, BC. The Rock is going to take over WWE one day. He's going to take it from Triple H. Him and Brian Gewirtz. No. We could only be so lucky. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I'd love for that to happen. The Rock running WWE Creative with Gewirtz. Could you imagine how much epic television we would be getting? If The Rock and Brian Gewirtz was running WWE Creative, every Monday night would be must-see again. No, we could only be so lucky. So for all of you that love Paul Levesque McMahon, don't worry. He's going to stay head of creative, and you'll get all the matches and all of the weak-ass promos. You'll get it all. But for that one segment, The Rock and Gewirtz had to sit HHH down and say, listen, dude, we need to talk. We have to do something big. We have to go next level. We have to break some guidelines. We have to break some PG standards. We have to go to that extreme. And we're going to talk to the right people to do such. We just need you on board. Triple H has needed help for the longest time. Last night, he got some in the form of The Rock and Brian Gewirtz. Because if you don't know The Rock and Brian Gewirtz, that segment you saw at the end of Raw, that is The Rock and Brian. That type of beatdown, the talking shit in the process, the Crimson Mask, all of it orchestrated by Dwayne and Brian. There's no question about it. You have not seen that type of television from Paul Levesque McMahon since he has taken over. In fact, there was a moment where The Rock took Cody to this steep drop-off. It's pretty much where the trucks would go to drop off the loading material. So it's a whole level down. And The Rock has got pinned Cody Rhodes right to the edge. And if you're an old school fan, you start to think, you get those visuals of The Rock chucking Stone Cold Steve Austin right off of an actual bridge. That's the type of television we used to get back in the day with The Rock. And there was a moment, I know BC's not the only one, that thought Cody Rhodes was going ass over tea kettle. It didn't happen. It's 2024, and The Rock, unfortunately, couldn't go that far. Oh, but if he could. But that was the only thing that segment was truly missing. Because that segment to end Monday Night Raw, for the first time in a very long time, captivated BC. That is what I have been asking for, nearly begging and pleading for, since I started this channel just over 5 years ago. Care again. Be creative. Actually creative. Put care, effort, time, resources into what you are doing, and most importantly, have fun. Remember, you get to create professional wrestling. There's nothing like it on the planet. It's the best thing going today, to quote the Nature Boy Ric Flair. It's the best thing going today still. You get to create it. You get to have fun creating pro wrestling, but it feels like a chore every single week. Not just for fans that have to watch a Monday Night Raw. The talent, creative, Paul Levesque McMahon, it feels like it's a chore for them to put on these shows. Because it's redundancy. It is boredom at its absolute finest. Or I guess you could say it's worst. But last night it changed. Is it any coincidence that The Rock was heavily involved in last night's show? It's not a coincidence. It's what The Rock does. He can accidentally touch shit and it'll turn to gold. That final segment of Monday Night Raw is everything I have preached on this channel. Do not be afraid to do stuff like that. That is what we need more of. That is how you sell a story. From the jump of Monday Night Raw, Rock just staring at Cody for 4 minutes had the entire crowd doing a "this is awesome," and we didn't even need flips and dives, Canadian destroyers off the top rope through a flaming table. We didn't need all of that. We just had Rock in the middle of the ring. Just the Rock staring at somebody. Got an "holy shit" and a "this is awesome" chant. That's all you need if you do it correctly with the right people. I mean, when it was all said and done, you want to see The Rock versus Cody Rhodes more than Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. That's good in terms of wanting to see Rock and Cody, and it's not good for Cody and Roman at all. And the second match I want to see for Mania that we're not going to get, just like Rock and Cody, is Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. And we ain't getting that either. But it's just funny how two of the best promos last night, and we'll get to Becky's too, by the way, with Rhea Ripley, but two of the best promos are setting up matches that are not even at Mania. Rock versus Cody, and that electrifying moment to start the show, and of course how it all ended. And CM Punk and Drew McIntyre battling on the microphone. It's funny. Those were the two best face-offs last night, and we're not even getting those matches at Mania. Very odd. But it still made for a good show. And then Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. This is what was needed. The promo, the physicality, the execution of it all. That is what was needed for Rhea and Becky, because I was definitely not sold. You guys have told me you were just not sold on this match. Could be and should be really good and fun right now, but it's just not. Paul Levesque McMahon has missed every single time he took the shot, but last night, no. And I'll give the dude the flowers, by the way, for anybody going, well, BC, it was a good Raw, and you're saying it was solely just The Rock. No. You could tell where The Rock had to put his input in, right? You can tell that, but I'll absolutely give Paul Levesque McMahon some flowers on this. I'll give him credit for that, for letting Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre go out there and actually shoot. Unfortunately, there was a lot of misses, right? They had the time. They didn't know what to do with that open mic, right? If it's not totally scripted out, they didn't know how to hang, unfortunately, with CM Punk. Drew delivered. Seth could have done so much more. Go back and watch the promo. Punk was waiting for Seth to unload. Sethington was lost like a deer in headlights. That was sad. But HHH gave him the platform. Hey, go out there, open mic, just rock each other. Know the guidelines, know some of the PG standards. You know, don't go overboard, but go at each other. Have some fun out there. Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch, man, did they deliver. Absolutely. And the pacing of the show was also very good last night. Very different than what we've seen in the past. And again, yes, you contribute that. You attribute it to The Rock and Brian Gerwitz's input. But I'll absolutely give a shout out over to Paul Levesque McMahon as well. Because a good show is a good show. Like when it's bad, you got to call the dudes at the top out, which is Paul Levesque McMahon. So I'll be giving that dude some credit as well. This was a good Monday Night Raw with a great finish. BC was captivated last night on a Monday Night Raw. I couldn't believe it. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a few swigs of coffee and talk all about it with you guys. I have in my hand right here in front of me the full Monday Night Raw 3/25/24 review. 2 full pages. It should be a page per hour. But for this week's review, 2 pages is not necessarily a bad thing because I'm going to go all on just memory on a lot of this. So we could have a lot of fun, no doubt, in this review. We're going to get amplified. We're going to talk about something that shocked the wrestling world last night. A good Monday Night Raw with a great finish. Let's talk all about it, amplified style, right now. And by the way, real quick, Brandy Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes literally got annihilated, right? We didn't even get into the real substance of what captivated BC and a lot of you guys last night. Most of you guys, I'm sure. We didn't even get to the meat and bones of it, which was Cody Rhodes literally got destroyed. Ran face first into his own tour bus several times, busted him open. He's bleeding right next to the nice paint job of his dog, Pharaoh, who's right on the passenger side of that tour bus, or I guess the only entrance when it's a tour bus. So the entrance of the bus, and Pharaoh is right on it, printed on it. It's beautiful, but Cody Rhodes is just up against it, just bleeding onto Pharaoh. It was just what a visual. And it was a beating that you don't see in WWE anymore. It was wild. It was so good. We'll talk more about it when we get to that part of the review, but I do just want to mention that Brandy Rhodes, the wife of Cody Rhodes, and the brother of Cody, Dustin Rhodes, they both responded to this immediately afterwards. Brandy says better keep his security detail tight at Mania. So Brandy wants at The Rock. Brandy Rhodes wants to get herself a piece of The Rock. Probably in more ways than one. That's another story. But she wants to slap the taste out of The Rock's mouth. And Dustin just replies simply, "You son of a bitch." Dustin is not happy. Just a few days ago, he actually said, F The Rock. Remember? That was a few days ago. Was that Friday Night SmackDown? I forgot what it was. Maybe it was a full week ago. But Dustin just said, F The Rock. That was it. That was the message. F The Rock. Now he's saying, "You son of a bitch." So it's a shame that we can't utilize them in this story, you know, with Cody and Roman. Not just Rock and Cody, but with Cody and Roman, it's a shame that we have not utilized. This is 2 years in a row we've been getting this same match for Mania. Cody and Roman. No Brandy Rhodes, and unfortunately you can't use Dustin because he's part of AEW. So it's just a shame, you know, if you had available Brandy, which they do, they just decided not to use her. Brandy and Paul Heyman could have been their own, that could have been their own little sideshow. It would have been hilarious. It would have been awesome. But, you know, no Brandy Rhodes and no Dustin. And that, man, them utilized would have been really cool because you have the whole bloodline. And you have this dynasty, this Rhodes family dynamic as well, but you don't really see the Rhodes family, right? But if you had Brandy in there, if you had Dustin, you know, it would really start to feel like these two family dynasties. It's a shame that they missed the boat on Brandy, and it's a shame that we couldn't get Dustin. I'm sure Tony Khan wouldn't mind, but Levesque McMahon would never. Levesque McMahon just does not like Tony Khan. And we went over the reasons as to why. But anyway, guys, we'll get over to the Rock and Cody Rhodes segment at the end of this. And to start the show, you talk about an actual surprise. BC did not know. I was not privy. I was live with you guys before Raw. So I wasn't checking the last up-to-date breaking news. I wasn't checking my phone with my sources. I didn't see anything. I was live with you guys right up to Raw, grabbed my my pen and pad, made a couple 2-3 more coffees, and I was hitting the ground running with the notes. So I didn't know The Rock was going to be there. That was a complete surprise, and that just kicked off just a really good flow to the show. But that wasn't always the case. Because the actual start of the show, man, was just Michael Cole stating that in 12 nights it's WrestleMania 40, and then we went straight into a Cody Roman video package from SmackDown. And then there was no pyro to start the show, no energy, just Michael Cole going, "Welcome everyone, we're 12 nights away from WrestleMania," and then into a video package. And right there, I go, oh no, this is going to be one of the worst Raws imaginable, isn't it? Because at that point, they had already announced a bunch of matches that really don't do anything for WrestleMania. Bronson Reed match, Ricochet Donuts match, Ivy and Candice. It was just a bunch of weird matches, right? Like, if you go to a house show, okay, you could watch all of them. This is prime time television. Monday night, 12 days before Mania. And that's how we're starting. No pyro, no energy. So at that point, I wasn't feeling real good about this show. Thankfully, that was all about the change. So Cody Rhodes comes out first. He's smiling his ass off in his fancy schmancy suit, of course. However, he was a little edgy last night because he came out without his suit jacket. Last week, he's all in black. Still has the 5-piece, but he's in black. This week, he's got the 5-piece without the 5th piece. Right? He takes that suit off, or at least the suit jacket. A little edgy, right? No, he's looking more like a pro wrestler ready to do battle. But Cody Rhodes starts this show off. He tells the crowd to pop for Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. Right? It's Mania season, and that's what he's done. He goes, first he says, it's that time of the season. It's WrestleMania season with only 2 weeks to go. There's no more time for words. It's just time to get down to it, so there's not much to really say. And it was like kind of odd, right? You're like, okay, so what are you gonna say, buddy? Because you still do have 2 weeks. You should be building. You shouldn't rest. You made the match. Just because it's the same match from last year doesn't mean like you don't build on it. There's 2 weeks left. And Cody's just like, it's that odd time where we're just gonna kind of twiddle our thumbs until Mania. No, motherfucker, you better... What are you talking about? So then he completely goes into left field with a hockey stick, right? Right? Your favorite Major League Baseball team, they're about to take the field, right? And there's little Jimmy. He's going out to left field, but he doesn't have his baseball glove on to catch all the balls. No, he's going out there with a hockey stick. That was Cody Rhodes last night, left field with a hockey stick. He starts talking about giving Pat McAfee a pop. Everybody, let's hear it from Michael Cole. And then he's got to put the focus back on what he was supposed to talk about. And he forgot. He literally forgot. He says that too. He's like, I forgot what we were even talking about. Oh yeah, Roman Reigns, he says. I'm like, again, at this point, right, we're about to get a good Raw and a great finish. But at that point, we don't know that, right? BC doesn't know that. I see the start of the show. Cody Rhodes is lost. He doesn't even know what he's doing out there, it seems. And BC's like, oh, this is already off the rails. Like somebody pack Triple H's bags, get him into the limo, and tell him to just leave, because this ain't good. It was bad, man. It was bad. But then he recovers. He does recover nicely. He says that at Mania, will all of you... He got real deep. He's like, at WrestleMania, yeah, Roman's going to have all the bloodline and the deck will be stacked against me, but will all of you ride with me? Will all of you fight with me? And he says, I want all of you because we're in this together to point at the WrestleMania sign. So it was a real group activity, right? It was a group activity. If you ever been, you remember back to like kindergarten, or maybe you went to Sunday school for church, right? And you have group activities. Right, Cody, it was a real group activity, and everybody was participating. It was a fun little moment, especially for Cody fans. And then it happened. If you smell echoes throughout that Chicago arena. The Rock's music hits. The crowd loses their shit. Right, just moments before they're chanting Cody, you hear some Rocky sucks. Even though they know Rocky's not there, but you still hear the chants. But the second Rocky's music hits, they're like, I wasn't cheering. I wasn't doing that. I wasn't cheering for Cody. They lose their shit. Phones in the air, jaws dropped. The Rock, he is there, man. BC popped. I gotta admit, man. You guys know how I feel about The Rock, though. It's not even being like a fan of The Rock. I never considered myself such. I can't even claim that now, actually. It's just a respect I have for how good his business is for the pro wrestling world. How much he elevates business. How good he is at captivating, right? So I have that respect for The Rock. And by now, if you guys have been subscribed for any length of time, you know that. Especially through all this time since he's come back, and a lot of the fan base has abandoned him and absolutely just drag him. Egotistical, he's a bully, he's not needed, just go away. You're not getting that on this channel. I know the value that The Rock has. So when I heard the music and I saw this dude come out, I was like, oh, yes. This business just picked up, to quote Jim Ross. He was there in Chicago, man. Chicago was flipping out. You guys can listen for yourself. I know a lot of you guys, you don't even watch Raw anymore. You listen to BC's review. In most weeks, we're just talking about how bad the show is. So you guys are like, oh, glad I didn't miss anything. Sorry you had to spend 3 hours doing that, BC. Thanks for doing it for us. Now, last night, yeah, you're going to be listening to this review going, damn, I missed that. That was a good show, BC. Yes. And it all started right when The Rock came out. Let's be honest, man. Come on. Right? Like, I'm a Cody, so again, not a fan, but I'm a supporter of Cody. For sure. It was a weak promo until the very end of it, and then thankfully The Rock came out, and that's when, man, it just got fun. There was no word spoken anyway. They were just staring at each other in the crowd. Chicago was just in euphoria, right? Complete euphoria and hysteria. Holy shit chants. And then this is awesome for a stare down. Justified. This is awesome. No flips, no dives, no 6-star match was happening. Not an Iron Man match. No, this is awesome. Just watching The Rock, right? What happened to Go Away Rock? The Rock is destroying WWE. He's taking spots. The entire wrestling world was captivated by a dude that's a part-timer, and he's just staring at somebody in the ring. And the crowd is losing their shit. BC is glued to the television. Rock and Cody just stared at each other for 3 or 4 minutes while the crowd lost their shit. And eventually The Rock would slowly make his way to Cody, put his hands behind his back, and whisper to Cody Rhodes, "Tonight, you're gonna bleed." That's what he tells Cody Rhodes. Cody afterwards, backstage, when asked by Jackie Redmond, like, what did The Rock say? Cody just said, he just made a promise he can't keep. But he just whispered those words and then he took off. The crowd at that point turned on The Rock completely because they were like, no, we want more. In fact, at the end of the night when The Rock was destroying Cody, he literally says, Chicago, you want to turn on The Rock? You want to boo The Rock because he doesn't say anything? Because I didn't say anything, well, here, he's like, basically, actions are worth 1,000 words. And he tells Chicago to completely fuck off. They had to mute The Rock so much. He was dropping F-bombs, bro. But when he left that ring, man, Chicago was like, no, don't leave, man. This is great. But the best was yet to come. And at the end of the night, I'm sure nobody saw that coming. We'll talk all about it. But that was the start, man. Rock and Cody. And you just had this different vibe of the night. Like, damn, if they can just keep that going. Damn, that was good. The old adage of sometimes less is more. You didn't even need them to go at it on the microphone. That stare down. The wrestling world told you what they wanted. Rock Cody now. If you're going to flip everything upside down anyway, the dream match is off the table. And whether you think it is or not, it's not even the point anymore. For BC and a lot of you guys, Rock versus Roman is a dream match. I want to see that one day. And I'm not going to be sorry for that. If you don't want to see it, take a nap. Go play in traffic. Pick up a different hobby. Miss one night of wrestling. I don't know what to tell you. But I want to see Rock and Roman. But if we're not going to get it, if you're going to flip everything upside down, if we're going to get Cody and Roman again for the second year in a row with no real awesome story behind it this year, other than rehashing the finish the story from last year, if we're going to flip everything upside down, we'll completely flip it upside down. I don't know how they botched this. This was easy. Rock versus Cody night 1, Cody versus Roman night 2. Or you could have just done Rock and Roman night 1 still, no matter who was calling for The Rock to be removed from WrestleMania, and then do Cody Roman night 2. So Rock, Roman, Cody. You could have had The tag team match is not. Seth Rollins involved in this just doesn't even feel right. Seth Rollins is easily the fourth wheel in all this. He has no business being in this match. Roman, you can make the case, absolutely. And then at that point, Cody just needs a tag team partner. The World Championship looks kind of beyond secondary to Roman's title, so they just threw Seth into a weird tag match. Not needed. Listen to that crowd last night for Cody and Rock. Rock and Cody. That's it. They were more electric for that than anything to do with Cody and Roman. The Rock and Cody we want to see more than Cody and Roman. So now the old thing is, some people think, okay, well, The Rock is going to turn or turn on Roman and help Cody still, right? Even after the beatdown last night, right? Rock could say they just needed to do that to really show Roman where Rock's allegiance is. Cody had to take that ass whooping for the ultimate goal, right? You could still do that story and Rock turns on Roman. But now, do you even do that? Now, I just want to see Rock and Cody get it on. I don't care. SummerSlam. I don't know if you can wait a whole nother year. Rock's got some movies coming up. I'm sure Rock didn't think that match was going to be so electric, that the people were going to be that adamant and that excited for Rock and Cody, but that's where we're going toward. We'll talk more about that end segment, but that was the beginning of the show. Rock, Cody, stare down. Absolutely. Man, so much fun. And then you're like, damn, we still have 2 hours and 40 minutes left in this show. I don't know if you can top that. We go into a wrestling match. Ricochet defeating J.D. McDonuts. Crowd was pretty dead for this match until the very end. You guys can go back, watch, listen for yourself. The crowd was... I think they were just coming down from that, how electrifying, I'll use that word, that first segment was. So, you can't really blame Ricochet and McDonuts. I mean, they put that match strategically as the first actual match of the night to really hype up the crowd, to keep them hyped, but it had the adverse effect. They needed to come down for a moment. So even though Ricochet's doing all these flips and dives, and him and McDonuts were putting on a decent match, I'm not sure if there's a... I don't know if Ricochet really is used to those type of matches where everybody's pretty much sitting down throughout his entire match. But they just needed to come down toward the very end when they were setting up the bigger moves to finish this match. That's when they really came to life. And Ricochet won this with a shooting star, correct? Oh, that's what it was. Dominic got involved and subsequently booted from ringside. And then Rico hits the shooting star. Standing up, by the way. McDonuts was standing up. Ricochet hits a shooting star. So that's more on McDonuts and how he's about to sell it. For Ricochet, he's just doing the shooting star. McDonuts has to time that beautifully. So props over to McDonuts. But that's all that was. This has nothing to do with Mania. Ricochet, I believe Ricochet doesn't even have a match. And we're 11 nights away. So maybe they throw him in some type of battle royal. Like the Andre the Giant battle royal, maybe. But Ricochet doesn't have anything. This was just to do some ooh-ah moments for the crowd. Because you had that promo and stare down earlier. Let's give them some high-flying action. And again, Pat McAfee halfway through this match with everybody sitting on their thumbs is like, this is a 6-star match. Stop. Why does everything have to be a bunch of stars? And why do we have to do all the wrestling chants for every match? Relax. It's Ricochet versus McDonuts. It's not Steamboat Savage WrestleMania 3, bro. Relax. It's not Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle. It's a 6 stars. And how many stars? I mean, that's more than 4 and 5 stars. I know that. So you're giving them a... I don't know how the imaginary star system works, nor do I care. But I should start my own amplified elbow rating system, right? Every match gets 1 to 5 amplified elbows, right? And if it's super good, maybe you get a 6th amplified elbow. Hour 1 ends and hour 2 begins with CM Punk. Look in my eyes, what do you see? McIntyre would interrupt. A great back and forth for Punk and McIntyre, by the way. Punk was laying into Mac. Mac was... there was one moment where Drew was trying to show him one of his 2 shirts, and at the top of like this list is like, I don't know, injure CM Punk or take CM Punk's spot. Something with CM Punk. And CM Punk was like, never in my career have I ever had to put another man's name on a t-shirt to sell it. Something like that. It was really good. And then Drew couldn't get out of the shirt anyway. So he says, having trouble getting out of my shirt, my big biceps. Something I'm sure you never had a problem with in your career. It was great. So Punk's begging McIntyre to get in the ring, even lays down in the middle of the ring. So then Drew gets on the commentary table and sits Indian style, like Punk would do on his promos, cross-legged. So, I mean, Punk's laying down, Drew's Indian style on the commentary table, and they just start going at it pretty cool. And then Sethington Rollins comes out. And this just goes to show you, if you take away the song, how lost the character, unfortunately, of Seth is. Because trust me, I give so much respect and have so much admiration for Rollins and the work that he puts in. You know, at the end of 2023, we did the Amplified Awards. Seth Rollins, never been a big fan of Rollins. The character is befuddling to me, but the work the dude put in, and how much he did carry on his back, I mean, it had to be appreciated. He was the wrestler of the year on the channel. There was no way you could look around it, right? I don't have to be a big fan of somebody to give them their flowers. So that's how much respect we have for Rollins on the channel. I just wish he would find himself and that the character would make more sense. He doesn't know what this character is. He just comes out and it's old school Rollins more than the Joker these days, right? He's talking more normal, which is good, but he's dressed like a teenage kid that just, he's trying to find himself, right? Like going through his puberty years or something, you know, like trying to enter adulthood. And he's wearing all these wild clothes and he's kind of just hanging out at the mall. He's always moody, right? He's just like it's weird. And Rollins comes out and you're kind of like, we don't need you, bro. Drew and Punk can continue this. Like, just give Punk and Drew the mic for another 10, 20 minutes. I'm cool. And Rollins doesn't really say much. CM Punk just pretty much roasts him, actually. And when Rollins had a chance to respond, because Paul Levesque McMahon let him go out there with the mic pretty much open. He let them shoot last night. You could tell. I mean, they were free reigns to no pun intended, but free reign to say what they pretty much wanted to. Yeah, don't go too far out the PG guidelines, but you could say what you want. And Punk was having fun with it, you could tell. And Rollins had a chance, and he was in deep thought, and you thought he was going to come back with a real zinger, and he didn't say anything. He's like, I don't even think about you. I never have. I don't. And you're not even a thought that crosses my mind and this and that. And that's great, but we're waiting for something big, right? Like, it's coming. Seth's got something. No, even Punk was waiting for it. Punk got serious, looked right at Seth, and it never came. It's weird, man. So then Punk finally put energy back in the crowd with his final statements. He leaves the ring. He says, hit my music. He leaves the ring. Drew says, shut his music. You don't get to leave with your music. You're not even a part of Mania. By the way, it was confirmed that Punk will be on commentary while Seth is taking on Drew for the title at Mania. So that's confirmed. Punk will be at Mania commentary for that match. So then Drew gets in the ring, starts talking trash to Punk. He gets a super kick by Rollins, and then subsequently a stomp by Rollins. And then Rollins is staring at Punk. In fact, Rollins gets out of the ring and walks right by Punk. He was supposed to hit Punk's shoulder on the way back. He went for it. You could see him kind of lean in, and Punk just kind of just took a step to the left, and Rollins hit air. And that was the segment. So I liked the promo. Again, the whole problem with Rollins is he feels like a third wheel in everything. He's involved in everything and nothing all at once. It's just very odd. I put up an upload yesterday, not the live stream last night before Raw, the preview, but hours before that, I put up an upload for you guys, about 11 or 12 minutes. And we talked a little bit about Drew, and he put up the Simpsons reference about Rollins. And it was Bart Simpson, and he's playing chess with 3 different boards, 3 different games of chess, and Bart keeps going one to the next. And he loses all 3 of them simultaneously. And Drew in the caption put, "This is basically Seth Rollins feuding with Roman and Rock and myself and losing all of them." And it's so true. They put Seth in everything, and he feels irrelevant in all of them. In the Cody Roman Rock story, Seth Rollins doesn't fit. That puzzle piece, it doesn't fit. It's to a totally different puzzle. And to his own match with Drew, and now even CM Punk, Seth Rollins doesn't fit anymore, right? At one point, we wanted to see Punk and Rollins, but Drew McIntyre turned up that heat. And Rollins, when he needed to turn it up the most, right? The greatest ones always show up in prime time, right? The greats in any sport, they always show up when it matters the most. Clutch time, right? Derek Jeter always showed up the biggest when the lights were the brightest. When the situations mattered the most, Derek Jeter was getting that hit. Seth Rollins, 12 days before Mania last night, 11 now, he's got to turn it up to a whole nother level, and it's almost like he's losing more confidence by the day. But the good news is the promo was still really good. They went overtime, and the truth is you'd rather see that more than more minutes of any of these matches that were put on last night. That's just the truth, guys. Punk and McIntyre going at it on the microphone is just more captivating and entertaining than Ivy Nile versus Candice LeRae for an additional 2 minutes. Right? That's facts. Because that was the next match. And yes, it got time cut out. Ivy Nile versus Candice LeRae both get jobber entrances. And the match itself is only 2 minutes long. LeRae pins and defeats Ivy Nile via roll-up. So it's Candice continuing the heel turn. She plays a little bit of possum, and then I believe on the hold 'em down roll up too, she was using the ropes as leverage with her feet. So it was a complete heel victory for Candice. I get it. But still, watching Ivy Nile lose so simplistically, that doesn't sit well either. But the match was only 2 minutes, and they both got jobber entrances because the promo battle beforehand went overtime. And that's what I mean when I say, if you can't beat them, you might as well join them. Instead of bitching and moaning and complaining that The Rock gets to do things you don't get to, ask, open your mouth. Instead of dragging The Rock, say, you know what? He's got the right idea. We know that we're not in the same category or level as The Rock. I mean, he has cemented his place in the business, and because of his talents has been able to do things way bigger outside of pro wrestling. And because of his skill and talent, he's been able to go to the top of that game. So we understand he's in another level. But can we at least be in the conversation of such? Can we start the process of that? Instead of dragging The Rock, say, hey, how can we begin the journey to do things like that, right? That's the difference in everything. It's mindset. You know, there's people that look at successful individuals and they say, fuck them. I don't like them. And they hoot and holler, they bitch, they moan, they drag them. And then there's other individuals that look at successful people and go, man, how can I get to me, even if not that level, how can I achieve some of that? Like, what can I do? Can I model some of that? Can I begin the process to get on that road to be something like that? Last night, they just said, you know what? Well, I mean, everyone's bitching and moaning about The Rock getting all this. Well, what if you do it then? You try to you get the 20-something minutes. And Seth Rollins found out it's not that easy, is it? You still have to have the talent and the skill to go out there for 20 minutes plus and deliver a captivating 20 plus minutes. It's not easy, and The Rock did it last Friday by himself. Nobody else was out there, man. He had to do story time, a sing-along, and a scathing promo in 19 and a half minutes, and then gave HHH back 30 seconds to give to a match later in the night. Give this to Dragon Lee, this 30 seconds. But it's not easy, and The Rock does it time after time, and he captivates. You can ask for all the time in the world. You can say that you're being done dirty. But when you get your opportunity, do you know what to do with that opportunity? When you get your chance, are you going to squander it or are you going to propel yourself? Everybody wants, but when they finally get what they're asking for, they don't know what to do with it. I'm glad they gave Punk, Mac, and Rollins 20 minutes last night. I'm glad they went over a little bit. Sorry for Ivy and Candice. But that promo, more interesting. It's more entertaining. Rollins could have stayed in the back, but still, 20 plus minutes. What's the alternative? You cut that promo short, 2 to 3 minutes, and Ivy and Candice wrestle for 2.5 more minutes. Yay! That's captivating television. Instead of just bitching that The Rock takes time to let things breathe, to really tell the story and to really get the audience engaged, why don't you take notes and start the process to do it yourself? Well, that was the thing, BC. They're saying that The Rock gets to do it and they don't get to. Bullshit! Bullshit! Open your mouth! Everybody is just okay with collecting the checks and taking any written material that the writers give them and any direction that HHH tells them. Get creative! Smarten up to the business and start taking control of your career. I don't mind that at all last night. That was a good start to the second hour. CM Punk really was feeling it last night. You could just tell, man. Between The Rock and CM Punk, they just really made this show feel special. Then we went into the New Day versus DIY. Why? No, not DIY. I mean DIY, but why? Why this match? If the goal here is to get DIY over, right, build them up. Build up DIY, get them over. Why put them in there with faces, like the New Day especially? And another face team was on commentary, Miz and R-Truth. So there was no heels involved, which means no friction, no tension, and no purpose. The crowd is just watching faces versus faces. DIY New Day. You're trying to build up DIY. They more than likely are winning the tag titles at Mania. So the New Day is just going to, especially Chicago, they're just split the audience. And then you got Truth and Miz on commentary, another face team. People love R-Truth, so a lot of the attention was on commentary, guys, even from the crowd. They're doing R-Truth chants. Their focus is on Truth. They're not even watching DIY. Why this match, AJ? Why always do the face versus face matches and heel versus heels? It doesn't help anybody. So at some point they realized there was no friction, no purpose, no tension, right? They realized, oh, a lot of faces out there. So they just sent all of Judgment Day out there. All of them just went out there to try to face all 6 faces. It was bad, man. Oh, and then they just all brawled. I think R-Truth took the worst of it. I think all of Judgment Day just laid out R-Truth. And that was the, was that the end of? No. There was one more match in hour number 2. That was Andrade defeating Giovanni Vinci. I think that's how Samantha introduces him. Andrade defeats Giovanni Vinci. This was originally supposed to be Ivar, but he is not, or it was announced that he was not medically cleared, so they substituted Ivar with Giovanni Vinci. Andrade makes light work of him. That was the end of hour number 2, and we started hour number 3 with Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio. This was the moment, and it was their last chance. You can't wait till the go-home show. If you're going to sell us that Becky and Rhea is something special, last night was your last chance to do it. Thankfully, they did it. So Rhea and Dominic are mid-ring cutting a promo. Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio collecting that heat. More so Dominic. They loved Mommy. Not so much Dommy. Becky Lynch hits the ring. Bex makes reference to Rhea never wrestling on Raw anymore. I thought that was really good. You know, Roman Reigns collects a lot of that heat, right? And a lot of it's justified. You know, it's the tale of two tapes. On one hand, it makes you special because you're not on the shows every week. You're not wrestling all the time. So you feel special. I get that, right? Hulk Hogan was one of those wrestlers. He didn't wrestle all the time. Made Hogan special. But there also wasn't this much programming back in the day. So Roman does need to be seen a little bit more than he is. But on one hand, you say, okay, it makes him special. On the other hand, it is just that. Dude, you got to show up a little bit more. Rhea Ripley flies under the radar a bit more, if you noticed. Rhea doesn't wrestle on Raw barely ever, right? A handful of times in recent months, for sure. Some of that was injury, we get it. But she just doesn't wrestle a lot on Monday Night Raw, and she gets away with that. People don't really notice because she's heavily involved in TV with the Judgment Day segments. So Bex actually called that out. You don't really wrestle every week on Raw, so you wouldn't really know how it is to be on the grind, basically, because Becky's been having all these matches, especially with like Nia Jax. So Rhea had a good response. She says, I don't have to wrestle every week to get attention. I can post a picture or a video online, and these freaks will eat it up. Of course, she's talking about the viral stink face from this past weekend, Springfield, Illinois. And Rhea Ripley delivered the Rikishi stink face to, ironically, Nia Jax, who does that now. But Rhea delivered the stink face to Nia Jax, and the whole wrestling world was just like, we will trade places with you, Nia, right? In fact, Shayna Baszler, I think this was a different night. The next night, I believe. But Shayna Baszler, stopped Rhea from doing that to Nia. And Shayna just put herself, this was at a house show, Shayna put herself in the corner and was inviting Rhea to give her a stink face. It was great, bro. Nia unfortunately broke that up. But there was all these memes, like Shayna is basically all of us right now, like just inviting Rhea to do a stink face. But that was the reason for that line. Rhea's retaliation to her never wrestling every Monday night is, I don't have to wrestle every week to get attention. I can post a pic or vid online and these freaks will eat it up. So then Bex responds, that's the difference between you and I. You post your ass to get ahead. I bust my ass. I actually like that line. It was delivered really good, and I paraphrased a little bit. I couldn't get it all in the notes as it was being spoke, so I paraphrased a little bit, but it was along the lines of, that's the difference between us. You post your ass to get ahead. I bust my ass. Just thought it was a really good line delivered pretty much flawlessly. Rhea then references Becky's daughter. Bex completely flips out, even tells the story of her father. Her dad never got to see her daughter born, I believe. Not even begin to grow up, but I believe she said didn't even get to see her daughter born. So this is not a joke. She doesn't take it lightly. This means everything. Don't you ever talk about my daughter. And she was basically in tears. So this got deep pretty quickly. And then Bex, as she's flipping out, she just decks Dominic. I'm talking knockout punch. I'll try to put it probably in the thumbnail for you guys. Or at least I think The Rock and Cody deserve the thumbnail. CM Punk put energy in he deserves. Maybe I'll have to do all 3 of those in the thumbnail. But but man, this was a knockout punch, guys. They showed it in slow motion later in the night. And you could see the jaw move, like connect, and then the jaw just moves from like east to west. It was wild. Becky Lynch laid into it. It was wild, bro. I'm like, Becky Lynch, she just hauled off. She's like, I'm knocking you out. I mean, and then I'm coming for mommy. And that's what she did. She starts the fire. Her and Rhea just start beating the shit out of one another. Dominic tries to come back into it. Becky takes her out again. Referees are coming down trying to break them up. I'm like into it, man. I'm like, all right, a really good promo with substance, not just empty words, right? Which is what Cody and Roman did on Friday night. A lot of the wrestling community was trying to like make it look like that was such a good promo with Cody and Roman. No, it wasn't. I was live on the channel with my amplified unit, my audience. We were trying to find the good in it. It was empty words, man. Nothing you didn't hear last year with the same 2 people. Becky and Rhea, this was not just empty words. This was good. The daughter thing, taking it to the next level, that was the icing on the cake. But even the substance before that, and calling out Rhea never wrestling and how much Becky has been busting her ass. And then the little digs, like, I just got to post my ass. Yeah, that's the problem. You posted, I bust my ass. Like, just little things like that. I mean, the whole promo flowed beautifully, and then the physicality was perfect. And Dominic getting knocked out to start the physicality between Rhea and Becky, sign me up for that. Finally, Becky and Rhea seems like a match for a pay-per-view. Man, it was just well done. The brawl is on at that point. Easily their best segment together during this whole Mania season. Promo to the physicality, this was just needed. There's no other way to put it. And I have that boldly put in my notes. This was needed. I made it a point last night to put that in my notes, man. Caps, this is needed. This was needed. Well done. Well done, man. Becky and Rhea. And don't just rest on that next week. Build. I tell you guys all the time, man. I preach this all the time. Build on these stories. Don't rest on them. They shouldn't be regressing as we get closer to the event. They should be building. They should be reaching a climactic state, not regressing to a cool-off period. So build on this next week. That was really well done. Bronson Reed then defeats Sami Zayn via pinfall following the tsunami splash. Gunther was standing at the top of the ramp. There was no real distraction. He was just standing there. And Sami's like, I don't know. And then fucking Bronson beats Sami. And Sami's going for a title in 11 nights. It's a little odd. But Sami goes backstage and he's telling Gable, like, I let him get in my head. Oh, no. And Gable's like, you just need a new strategy. And I'm the right man for the job. So you guys see what they're doing, right? There was a lot of backlash when Sami won that match against Gable, the gauntlet match. A lot of people wanted Gable. A lot of people. And there was a huge, heavy backlash. Booker T says that he was talking with Sami Zayn afterwards, and Sami was like, I can't believe everyone's reacting like this. He said, I thought we did everything right. I thought they were behind me. I thought they wanted me to be in this match and win the title. I can't believe this reaction. Like, that was a personal convo that Booker T told of him and Sami. So what WWE is doing is they're taking Gable, who unfortunately has nothing for WrestleMania. That's pretty much criminal, by the way. Chad Gable should have something epic for Mania. Too good to be on the sidelines. But what they're doing is, so there is no backlash or Gable chance leading up to Mania or Gable chance at Mania during the Gunther-Sami match. They're putting Gable with Sami. So they're going to try they're showing the audience that, no, don't worry. Guys, Gable and Sami are basically a tandem. If Sami wins a title, it's basically like Gable winning the title, right? He's going to coach him to victory. And that could be true. Gable could help Sami win this title, or Gable could cost Sami the match. I mean, you got to believe Gunther's dropping that title at Mania. This whole reign, Mania's the place to do it, the time to do it. Sammy is the right person. But I know they have a big event. Where is it? Germany in a few months too? I don't know if you hold off till then. And then what do? A triple threat? Gable, Sammy, and Gunther in Germany? I don't know. There's really nobody else. I think WrestleMania is the time. Gable is going to be heavily a part of this, though. That's going to be where his part is at WrestleMania. But I see what they're doing, though. They're trying to calm everyone down and all the backlash by just putting Gable with Sammy. I don't know. It kind of makes Gable look so secondary, but if they do it correctly, I guess we can be on board. And then we went into the main event. And by the end of the night, man, for the first time in years, BC was captivated by something on Monday Night Raw. So the main event was Jey Uso and Shinsuke Nakamura. Uso defeats Nakamura via pinfall off. I believe it was like the spear. I think it was the spear. At that moment, I was just like, I was surprised pleasantly that this match wasn't just going to 10:58 p.m. and then like Jey celebrate. This is how I saw this going. If this was Paul Levesque McMahon's booking, right? We know this because we've seen it weeks and months on end. But if this was Paul Levesque McMahon, Jimmy and Solo would have just hit the ring, taken out Jey, and then Cody Rhodes, maybe Rollins, right? They're going to come out. And they'll brawl, right? Friday night, you saw the stare-off between all six, where Roman was involved. But now you're going to get a brawl. And that's how we go off the air. Nothing special, nothing worth even talking about. So that's what I thought was going to happen. Jey is going to beat Shinsuke with a couple minutes left, and then all the shindig is going to happen. Or Solo and Jimmy come out and don't even allow Jey to win the match, save Shinsuke from losing. But no. It was like 7 minutes left. I was like, oh, they got something planned maybe, right? Because Jimmy, Solo, Cody, and them all fighting each other, that's not worthy of 7 minutes. And then you go backstage, man. I'm like, yeah. I wasn't expecting The Rock to even be backstage. I thought he was already long gone, but I'm like, good. End the night backstage. Yes, get away from the ring. Let's have some fun. You're a television show. Entertain us. So they go backstage and Cody is fending off Jimmy and Solo, and he's doing a good job. He's beating him up. And then The Rock comes out, and The Rock starts whooping that ass. Trash cans to the dome piece. A number of trash cans, too, by the way. And then he takes a toolbox. He empties a toolbox on Cody, who's already down. And these are some heavy wrenches and shit, full drills. These things. Cody's like, Cody is selling it because I'm guessing it hurts. These tools, they weigh a lot. And Rock is just dumping them all on Cody. And then he takes them to the outside, throws them right through the door. And you see Cody's tour bus, right? He's got, what is it? Wheatley's Vodka? Whatever, there's the new sponsor for WrestleMania, and Cody is the head dude sponsoring it. So it's on the back of his tour bus. And so The Rock, this is what I mean about The Rock is such a businessman. I bet you, there's no doubt that was his idea to get that shot. He knows that that's the sponsor of WrestleMania. He is a board of directors. The better WWE does, the better The Rock does. And that's a big sponsor. And he wants to help Cody out, who's the face of that sponsorship now. So when The Rock opens the door, they made sure that the tour bus is right there in the back, and you have the Wheatley's Vodka. And The Rock steps to the side. So he's got the door open. He's here, and the camera perfectly gets the vodka thing. And The Rock just cuts a little bit of a promo with Cody already outside. And he just wants you to get that shot. And Rock just talks a little bit of shit with the door open so you can get that shot. So the next time you hear somebody go, Rock is always in business for himself. Rock doesn't care about WWE succeeding. He's only in it for himself. You don't even know what you're talking about. The Rock has always been about making the best business for everybody he's working with. Always. Steve Austin has always said that about The Rock. Mark Calloway, Kurt Angle. Nobody has ever said anything to the contrary. So I don't know where this new narrative with today's younger wrestling fan is. Just because he wanted to come back and have a match with his cousin that a lot of us want to see. So odd. So he was helping Cody out big time and really selling that new sponsorship. And he's talking about you want to boo the Rock because he didn't say anything. Well, how about this? How about this? I'll say this. And he starts just degrading Chicago, man. He's like, you all can fuck off. And now I'm gonna beat the you Cody crybabies. Now I'm gonna beat the fuck out of your hero. And he starts laying into Cody Rhodes, taking his face, slamming it into the tour bus, takes him to that steep drop off. I thought he was gonna chuck him over the edge. And he's got him pinned, and he's just holding him like by his throat, and Cody's like gasping for air, and he's slapping the shit out of him, and he's talking shit about his mama. Throws him again face first into the tour bus. Cody is busted open, by the way. Cody's busted open. Exactly what The Rock said earlier in the night that he was going to do. And he says, and he's leaning up. Cody is leaning up, busted open against the entrance of the tour bus, which is the painting of Pharaoh, right? His dog. And the detail is just beautiful too, man. What a dog. And he's just leaning on it, all bloodied. And The Rock is just laughing like, this is perfect. Oh, the irony. This is perfect. He takes off his belt, and it's actually embroidered saying Mama Rhodes. You go all out, man. That is embroidered into the belt. It wasn't just written on with a Sharpie. He had a custom-made Mama Rhodes belt. Takes the blood from Cody, rubs it onto the belt, and cuts a promo on Mama Rhodes. Again, Dustin Rhodes. AEW's Dustin Rhodes, the real brother of Cody. He responded when Raw went off the air. Just 5 words. You son of a bitch. So even Dustin's selling this perfectly, you know. You'll talk about Mama Rhodes. I can't tell you how just beautifully done this was. Am I shocked? No, because that's what The Rock and his writer, Brian Gerwitz, that's just some of the television they can tell. When the cuffs are off, that's the type of television you're going to get with them. I'm not shocked at all. That's why the 20-minute promo with just The Rock 2 Friday nights ago was so epic. That's why that segment was so epic. Dwayne Johnson and Brian Gerwitz, they just want the best television for all of us. And I just don't understand why that's not welcomed more. Because what's the alternative, guys? You would have gotten Jey Uso and Shinsuke for another 6 minutes. Yay. Wow, are they going to do their wrestling moves? Is that going to do anything for Shinsuke? Because he got 6 more minutes on TV with Jey? Is that going to change his booking? Are you going to go back and watch this match again because it was 6 more minutes or 5 more minutes? These are television shows, man. You got to build up to the pay-per-views. Got no problem with you taking our money, but give us reasons, right? The TV shows you build with segments that entertain us, that captivate us. The definition of captivate. Attract and hold the interest and attention of. Wrestling lost that, man. WWE, Monday Night Raw for sure, has lost that over the years. Started with Vincent Kennedy McMahon. He lost touch 10 years ago. And it continued with, as CM Punk calls him, the doofus son-in-law. But it continued with him. And it took The Rock coming back. And I got to give props again to Brian. It took them two to go, all right, if we're going to be here for the next several months, we're going to make this place fun. We're going to do fun, creative shit. I'm going to miss them when they're gone, man, back to Hollywood. I really am. I truly am. It's funny. I mentioned this earlier. You see some fans, they're like, oh no, what if The Rock was to one day take over what Triple H is doing? What do you mean, what if? First of all, we'll unfortunately won't be that lucky. But how is that bad? What are you talking about? What is Triple H doing? He does the same thing Vince always. He played to your favorites. You think Goldberg's the only one telling you that him and H just didn't like him and vice versa? And he tells stories about how H just picked his favorites, and when he didn't like you, he just did not like you. Triple H, they call him Petty Paul for a reason. We didn't just make that name up. They call him Petty Paul. He plays to his favorites, and he absolutely destroys Golden Shovel and beyond, who he doesn't like. Think it was just Vince? Levesque McMahon does the same thing. Monday Night Raw is pulling in the worst ratings of all time because Levesque McMahon is lost. And you're crying that The Rock and Brian Gewirtz, creative people that want to give us entertaining television, captivate us. That's what's going to destroy WWE? Because what? Rock's going to put himself in all the main events. We can only be so freaking lucky. Because everyone he works with gets elevated. That was a masterclass last night. Props to Cody too, man. Much prop. That's what I mean. When you work with The Rock, you get elevated in the process. I'm not sure what people are not understanding. Cody Rhodes selling that ass whooping. I assure you, for Cody's actual fans, right? Because he caters to the kids and the families. I'm sure there was kids and even grown adults in those families that were crying last night. Like when Hulk Hogan would get squashed by Earthquake or Andre the Giant, kids would cry, grown adults with their jaws dropped. For actual Cody fans, they were probably in tears seeing their hero get destroyed and annihilated like that. That's awesome. It's only going to propel how they feel about Cody Rhodes. Man, for the first time in a long time, Monday Night Raw, there was a flow to this show. I can say that was a good show. Great? No, let's not take it too far. But it was not bad. I'll even say, dare I say, good. The finish was great. Actually great. Not just throwing that word around loosely. That was great. It's a simplistic cliffhanger, too, when you think about it. How's Cody going to respond? Is he okay? What's... I mean, that was a beatdown. That dude didn't get up when we went off the air. Cody was down and out. Bloodied up. Simplistic cliffhanger. A cliffhanger to end the show? No. What a concept. It's a good show. Until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC saying check you. Peace.